Should we read The Biggest Christmas Tree Ever? I think so. Let's do it. Once there were two mice who fell in love with the same Christmas tree, but you had to see it to believe it. Look at that tree, it's so big. Those little mice look so happy. Everyone in Mouseville loved Christmas trees. Every Christmas, families all over town put up the biggest, most beautiful tree they could find. Look at all those cars. They all have Christmas trees on top of them, don't they? But first came Thanksgiving, the day before the celebration. Clayton, the house mouse, took a walk around Mouseville. He knew he should be thinking about giving thanks, but the chill of the air reminded him of Christmas. "You know what?" he said out loud. "This year, I'm going to find the biggest Christmas tree ever." Not far away, Clayton's friend Desmond, the field mouse, said exactly the same thing. Oh my goodness, they had the same idea. That's crazy. That night, Clayton helped his mom and dad, his brother, Andy, and his sister. Trudy. What? There's so many people he helped. Let's start over. That night, Clayton helped his mom and dad, his brother, Andy, and his sister, Trudy, make the special cheese casserole and nut pie for Thanksgiving dinner. Over at Desmond's house, Desmond and his brother Morris helped Uncle Vernon fix a big pot of vegetable stew and a cheesecake. Oh my goodness, that sounds delicious. And you know how much mice love cheese and nuts? We have turkey for our Thanksgiving, but I guess mice have cheese casseroles and cheesecake and nut pie, and it sounds like they like vegetables too. Everyone ate much too much. I always do that at Thanksgiving too. After dinner, Clayton's grandma and grandpa sat in the living room, holding their tummies and grumbling. Over at Desmond's, the cousins from across the road stretched out on Uncle Vernon's sofa and took a nap. Oh my goodness, they're so tired after eating so much. The following morning, Clayton woke up early. He wanted to be the first at Clara's Christmas tree farm on the edge of town. That way, he could have his pick of the biggest trees. Over at Desmond's house, Desmond stumbled out of bed with the same thought. Oh my goodness, they're having the same idea again. Have you ever had that with your friends? I know I have. Clayton hurried over to Clara's, but it was hard to go very fast. He was still too full of Thanksgiving dinner. By the time he reached the Christmas tree farm, he was out of breath. Oh, he looked around. No one else was there. Look, he's at Clara's Christmas tree farm. Moments later, Desmond arrived. He too was full of Thanksgiving dinner. He too had found it hard to hurry. He took a deep breath and stumbled inside. Clayton wobbled down the rows of trees. Here was a nice one, but it was much too small. There was another, but it was squat and had a crooked top. Over there was a third, but it was average height and had big gaps between the branches. Struggling down another road, Desmond was having the same problems. Oh, he's just stumped. He doesn't know what to do. He's just taking a break, it looks like. Let's find out. Clayton leaned against a tree. It was scrawny and not very tall. I'll never find the tree I want, he said. I'd better go home. And not far away, squinting at another tree, Desmond said, I'll never find the tree I want. I'd better go home. When Clayton reached his house, it was only the middle of the morning. But he was still full, and he was tired, and he fell back into bed. Oh, he's taking a little nap. When Desmond reached his house, he too went back to bed. Oh my gosh, these are the sleepiest little mice ever. That afternoon, Clayton went out again. At the very same time, Desmond did too. Oh my goodness, these guys are doing everything together at the same time. Clayton walked onto the far edge of the Christmas tree farm. He looked at one big tree after another, but none of them looked like the biggest Christmas tree ever. Down another path, Desmond was having the same bad luck. Starting to lose hope, Clayton peered around a very thick trunk. Desmond peered around the same thick trunk. They bumped heads and fell down. Ah, they bumped heads. Oh my goodness, they weren't even paying attention. I bet you're looking for the biggest Christmas tree ever, said Clayton. I bet you're looking for the biggest Christmas tree ever, said Desmond. Why don't we find it together, said Clayton. No one said we couldn't, said Desmond. All right, they got a good idea going. They set out through the rows of trees. They looked and looked until it was almost dark. Look at all of those trees. I don't know, can you spot the biggest one? I think I see it, but I'm not sure. Let's find out. Just as they were ready to give up, there it was, a big Christmas tree, so big and so tall it reached the sky. Oh my goodness, look how big it is compared to them. How will we cut it down? Clayton asked. It's much too big for the two of us. Where will we put it? Desmond asked. It won't fit in your house or mine. Clayton and Desmond smiled. Our families will help us, they said together. And that is what happened. Clayton's dad and Uncle Vernon came out with their axes, and with the help of Clayton and Desmond, they chopped down that giant tree. Do you see the bird on the axe? Right there. Let's see what happens. Oh my goodness, what is happening? Look at how big that tree is. Oh, wow. Look at how many mice there are pulling that tree. Both families called on friends and relations, and together they loaded the tree onto 100 red wagons and pulled it to Clayton's front yard. 100 wagons? Oh my goodness, that's a big tree. They decorated it with the most wondrous ornaments of colored lights. Oh, that's beautiful. And on Christmas Eve, with all of Mouseville celebrating around it, the biggest Christmas tree ever lit up the entire hillside. Clayton and Desmond shared a high five. We did it, said Clayton. All of us together, said Desmond. Oh, wow. Look at that tree. It's beautiful. It's so many lights. Look, you can see Desmond and Clayton right here. Oh my goodness. And look at the star on top of the tree. It sure is the biggest Christmas tree ever. Oh my goodness. Well, the end.